There are many words one can use to describe a life well lived. Rich, fulfilling, gifted. For Mick Stokes, we only need one. Performer. To celebrate the life and legacy of Mick Stokes, take a journey with us as we talk to those who knew him, loved and were loved by him. Those who continue his legacy. This is Legacies. Raised by his Aunt Elaine, Mikey, as he was affectionately called, grew up on Roxborough Street, Newtown during the late 1950s. A close-knit community, neighbors would share everything. Friends like Bobby J. Hobson would often hear him bawl out when it was time to get that cold backyard shower courtesy of his auntie. Mick was known as Newtown's Stevie Wonder because of his small stature and his singing voice, described as both sweet and tender. As he grew, his voice could be heard on the radio airwaves, marking the beginning of a career that would see him behind the microphone. For the folks at home, it was simply the beginning of destiny.
But my first awareness of Mick Stokes, I was about 7 years old. At home, back in the day, you had this Grundig radio, and there was a program put on by, I think, was Louina Maynard, used to call On Lulu, and they featured mainly local talents. There was this young sensation, singing sensation, Mick Stokes singing, I think he was about 10 years old. And because he was that young and the talent was so very evident, it was the talk of the town. And he was singing Jumpin' Jack. Na, 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 with that voice, and that was my first awareness of Mick Stokes in the, I would say, mid-60s.
I actually started in the junior calypso competition in 1973 when it was initiated. And at that time, one of the big bands and the big names in Carnival was Elimat and the GI Brass. Mick, of course, was the drummer, and I won the title in 1975. And the folks who were behind the junior calypso, they decided they're gonna create a spot in the finals of the senior calypso monarch for the junior calypso king. So I was the fortunate one to benefit from that, and the backing band was Elimat and the GI Brass. At that time, they practiced upstairs what was known then as Barclays Bank. That's where they were practicing. So, you know, as a young kid from Boyd's, Boyd's was of course different then. Now we're the University District, but back then it was just a little village with the Hotel Fairview in the back. And Mick was the drummer for the band at that time. So that was really my first introduction to him, first time that I met him. And he was always this energy guy, you know, he always had energy. He was just busy, you know, this little short drummers. I don't know why most drummers are short, but he was, you know, very, very busy. He wanted to know, like, the backup lines for him to sing for me and stuff like that.
In the early 80s, late 70s, early 80s, the Jazz Brass International, they had this talent night that used to be held like at the House Nightry. They still have tents there at the House Nightry. That's at the back of Uncle T's. And I went there and I did some music, some Rita Marley, because when I made my debut as a singer outside of school, I sang Harambe by Rita Marley, and everybody used to want to hear it. Everywhere I got to sing, I had to sing Harambe. So I did that and two other Rita Marley songs, and that's how I got, like, and then besides that, I used to back up Calypsonians with the Proud Sounds Calypso tent. So I knew Mick from then, but not close. But he was always cordial. But then we really hit it off when the band broke up, and then there was another band that was formed called Ashanti. And I went to be a backbone vocalist in Ashanti, and he was one of the founding members. But then he went into singles, doing singles, and so I guess he recognized the talent, and he came to get me. And so that's how we really formed the band. So almost every song he sang, he had me singing background vocals.
I need somebody to kiss. Help me through my loneliness. I need somebody to touch. I need somebody to hold. To drive away.
Some of them are telling me ain't singing that. me ain't singing that, Mick. You know?
And this and that and that, and I play and I keep awake all man heart. Mick Stokes start the ball. Mick Stokes start to pray. I mean, real tears. Shelly Tota start the ball. Lord, we ain't gonna tune yet. It was that, we were really, really frightened, and I kept hearing the pilot's admonition, if I was you, I would jump on the plane. So I'm playing brave, I'm playing brave, and then about maybe 10, 15 minutes after, there was a patch of blue, and everything cleared up. So we and in synchro and perform. So I am one of the very few who can say I saw Mick Stokes cry. I saw him pray. I mean, because really, a real life, you figure you're gone.
In 1977, he met Pam, and their union would see Mick become a dedicated father.
Well, I know him with Michelle and Pam, right? And he loved his granddaughter, you know, so I guess, yeah, and he loved his children. Because he used to tell me about his son, Dr. Drew. He used to talk about him, the Prime Minister. He used to talk about him a lot, and sometimes, you know, we will sit down and chat. He used to ask him all kind of questions, and he'll tell me. You know, so no, he loved it. And he liked, I mean, even, I've heard Michelle say that up to when he was like sick, he was worrying about making sure the home is good, that they had food to eat and so. Yeah, that's how he was. So he was a family man, I think so.
He was a character. And he was also a good sport. Like if I said, Daddy, come, let's act this part. He was ready to jump. Not Mommy. Mommy will be like, I don't, nobody hug me. But Daddy was that person that, you know, if you call him and say, hey, let me go play this game or let me go do this, he jump in. You know what I mean? Like, you know, even when he started radio years ago, and he started at Choice FM, I think it was. And every afternoon after school, I used to rush home from school to go with him at Choice FM to play the music, because I love the music and playing the music. And he was the one talking on the mic, but I was the little girl there playing the music, and nobody knew. So people would think it's him playing the music, but I was the one who was more into the music, especially the newer music, because, you know, Daddy kind of old school. So I would come and mix, and, you know, people thinking that Daddy's the one mixing, but they didn't know I was the little girl doing it. So then one time he got a call and he had to rush out. And he said to me, continue playing the music, I'm coming back in 15 minutes. He said, don't touch nothing, don't do nothing, just play the music. You know me. Anyway, okay, no problem. As soon as he left, I went out and I peeped to make sure the car reached far. And when he reached far, I nicely pushed up the knob, and then I started to talk on the microphone. And when I started talking on the microphone, the boss man come out, and I was like, oh shoot, I'm in trouble. And then he was like, no, you continue, go ahead. And then I continued doing it, and then Daddy come back and said, well, I tell you. He said, anyway, continue. Apparently he was listening to. And from that day onwards, that's when I got my first show on Choice FM, because they realized that I also had a voice, which was something like my dad. And it's because I wanted to be so much like him. He did not realize that when he was doing what he was doing, I was in the back watching and learning and mimicking him. So I basically kind of locked it easily when he left.
Yeah, me, my sister Sensia, Michelle as well, got that whole type of music vibe kind of going as well. So it's always something where it's apple didn't fall far from the tree, technically. But yeah, Daddy really influenced us and a lot of people, man. So that's the best part. He used to come to my mom's, Cynthia Robinson, house to come pick me up ever so often, and we would drive around St. Kitts on his bike. And people would say, hey, Mick. So it's like, I'll be like, oh, okay. So it kind of makes me feel like, man, Daddy was special, man. Everybody kind of knew him. So it kind of helped me to like kind of build that type of image to kind of emulate him, or kind of be be better.
Even dinner was an opportunity to showcase. But even though he enjoyed being a fun parent, there were times he felt discipline was necessary.
Like sometimes we'd be home and I said, let's go do karaoke. It's like being with him was just more fun than anything else. You know what I mean? But you know, he was kind of strict when I was younger. I remember one time I went to a Labor Day match and he found my diary. Oh my gosh. I didn't know I was coming home to some licks. Because the diary said that I saw this boy and I really wanted to kiss him. And Daddy was like, you know, because I think I was about 14 and he saw it in the diary. And then, boy, when I reached home, the kind of licks again, never wanted a diary again. But, you know, I don't know why he was protected, because he had 6 children and I was his only girl. My mom had 3 and I was her only girl, so I was the girl. You know what I mean? I guess he felt like he had to be a protector of his daughter. So, but I was just so much my dad.
Every aspect of Mick's life was aimed at performing. In between gigs, he crafted intricate jewelry at the Haliger Jewelry Store on 4th Street in Basse-Terre.
Oh, you see, myself from childhood days, I don't know, since his grandfather was alive and Mr. Haliger, he was into jewelry. It seems as he used to go there and help him and do stuff and so, you know. I think he told the story of how he think, but I don't remember it, to be honest, you know, because but they're all documented on Radio Market.
Well, coming up as coming from school, you know, I used to work with my dad as well, in the jewelry store. Me, my Uncle Marlon, Wayne, we used to have a little everything on the jewelry store. Mr. A.C. Halaga as well. Taught me how to talk to people, how to deal with people. Taught me the hard lessons of, you know, like life. Also, it kind of took me to a mode where I had to open up to a lot of my other family members as well to kind of get a little closure.
Even as time wore on, Mick continued to perform, this time though as a disc jockey, hosting National Showcase and Radio Market on ZIZ Radio.
You know, and then even after that, like if you're coming up to ZIZ on a Tuesday, he would bring me something. I could ask him to do stuff. He asked me to do stuff. We were going back and forth like that. So I didn't realize the closeness until he passed, and I said, wow. It wasn't even just, and it began so long ago. You know, it wasn't like when he came up to ZIZ to do Radio Market. It's because we were friends where you asked him to come do Radio Market with me, you know, because of singing, a lot of singing we did together.
At the end of it all, he treasured family above all.
You know, one time my dad said to me that he wished that he could have given his children more time, more attention, and more love. And I asked him what he meant by that. He said, because he was doing so much traveling in the band, playing music, the time that he wanted to give to his children, it was there, but it just was not enough. You know what I mean? So when he got that time, he was sometime, for instance, he would have like Terrence and Omar and them. Sometimes he would do like, you know, baseball, playing cricket, not baseball, sorry, cricket, teaching them to play cricket in the back of the yard. He would teach us all how to do jewelry. My dad taught me how to do engraving. He taught me how to solder chains. He basically wanted to teach us everything that he knew in the times that he had.
Seeing Dad now, you know, compared to then to now, kind of makes me cherish life a lot more. You know, stuff that we could easily avoid, you know, eating better, drinking better, living better overall. All that kind of comes back as well, too. We really got to kind of take care of ourselves and kind of look deeper inside, you know what I'm saying, and kind of recognize what's more important. Time, family, you know. That's Daddy's life. That's Daddy's story, you know. That's what he believed in.
What amazed me the most though about my dad is watching him with my daughter. So watching him with my daughter kind of made me remember some of the things that he used to do with me. But with my daughter, I used to be jealous because I used to be like, I wonder if he used to do these things with me when I was me, you know, because I was like, you can't remember when you were small. But afternoon time, Daddy used to look forward to coming home to take a Caesar pack, coming home to go play in the yard, play on the swing. You know what I mean? I have actually videos with Daddy and my daughter playing dolly. You know what I mean? He in there playing dolly house with her. Sometimes she would dress him up in chef suit and they're playing cooking by the little kitchen. You know what I mean? And he's acting out the character. You know what I mean? Daddy would let down and let her put makeup and all kind of different things on the face. You know what I mean? Anything to make that little girl happy, he was willing to do it. You know what I mean? And I couldn't even shout at her if she does something wrong because here comes the big bad bull. You understand what I'm showing you? So it's like, I had to do whatever I had to do when, you know, he ain't around. We understand, because make sure that she's disciplined at the same time, because I don't like rude children. You know what I mean? And sometimes when grandparents take control, the children them just get away. So I have to step in and be like, no, you understand? Because I don't want a rude child. But daddy was just that. There's also a video I had there with my daughter coming in, stepping in high shoes. So I said, who tie you up? Because she put them well tie up and the shoes them well wrap up. She said, Pampa. So here he coming in, walk out, my girl, walk out. I said, this is the kind of stupidness thing my child doing. He was just a man that would find something to make it fun.
He always had a fruit or something to bring. So he can either give me grapes, or he can bring a mango, or he can bring cherries, the cashew, something he can bring. And then he had, his wife used to make some cakes. We used to call them pancakes. Fritters, really. And whenever she make them, he come and he had to get a lot of attitude to give me the pancakes and a lot of things to get on with just to hand them to me and so, you know. But yeah, he was always jovial.
Oh my God, daddy love food. If mommy cook 10 dumplings, tell yourself 2 for me and 2 for mommy, and the other 6 is for daddy. You understand? And if you get 2 dumplings and you ain't eat your 2, daddy gonna come back to make sure you don't eat, and you going back with the next one. And if you put it up in the fridge, think you're gonna get something for tomorrow, tell yourself daddy going back in the fridge for that day. You understand? Because he loved food, he loved to eat, he loved it belly. You understand? And I think that's one of the reasons why my mother kind of when he had, you know, because she go cook, you know. Yeah, besides being beautiful and looking good, she could turn on a pot. And when he come home, he could go dear. When he comes to his food, he going buy Pam. You understand? He want Pam food. Like I tell you one time, he said, he spoke about, he had a plate of food, 7 meatballs in the plate. So I said, Daddy, you gonna eat all the meatballs? He said, 7 days in a week, 7 here to be eat. So I said, each of them represent, he said, a day. You understand? That was just his thing, because he make fun out of everything.
The history and the knowledge that Mick had about things back then. You know what I mean? When they talk about, like, one day they may take a street and they say, let's name all these places, all these houses or businesses that used to be on this street. And they go through some of this stuff. Of course, I was from Boyd's. I'm a little bit younger than them. And so I mean, you know, I didn't know a lot of this stuff, and so I learned a lot. And he would always invite me to come to National Showcase as well, on Tuesday nights on ZIZ. And he invited me to perform live one night on the show as well. But he was gracious. He was gracious. He was kind. He was talented. And I heard somebody say this the other day, and I can visualize it. Mick on the drums, and this was anytime. Once he turned his head on the side, I mean, trouble. That was trouble.
Mick Stokes, not being with the big bands of the day yesterday, operated from his little shop on 4th Street. A drumming school. He taught people how to drum. He talked it. It was life. He spoke about first drumming on what we call a Bankwell pan, yeah. Made his own drums and this and that.
Mick lives on in the lives of those left behind. He lives through his children and grandchildren, all as uniquely gifted as he was. His contemporaries continue to bear his torch, even as they forge their own paths.
I will always cherish the memories. Yeah, I always will cherish the memories. Sometimes when I sit down and I think about just how we used to be and so, yeah, it was nice. I'm happy that I got to know him.
It's a celebration. We have to celebrate his legacy. It can't be all sad. We all have to transition at one point. And if you only remember by what you've done, and what you've done is such an achievement that everybody wants to herald and celebrate. We celebrate, and we thank the heavens for the Mick Stokes of this world.
Mick Stokes' stage was wherever he found himself to be, whether DJing, writing song lyrics, jamming on the street, or in simply being a father. This is a life well lived. This is a legacy.
I need somebody to touch. I need somebody to hold, to help me through my loneliness. I need somebody to touch. I need somebody to hold, to drive away this fall.